Hello and namaste, my beautiful friends. I am Jill Loftus of Nuit Astrology. Welcome to your planetary energy forecast for the week of May the 19th, 2025. Now, pause the video, get yourself a cup of tea, because there's a lot to talk about this week. In fact, a lot of positive things as well, but this is a time period that we're going to look back upon, to look at the symbols, the things that were occurring in our lives, in the greater world, so to speak, because of the major shifts that are occurring this week. Now, sometimes I think of the astrology as when you like do macrame or you're braiding something, right? And you're bringing these different strands of the life together and you're weaving something. And the different pieces become more than the sum of the parts. But also sometimes it's hard to discern the different things, right? You know, if you've ever seen like, all the different color threads come together and they kind of create this new way of seeing, right? It's not exactly the same. You don't pull out the blue thread and it's like, oh, well, I didn't really see the blue thread. It's just woven in there. But it's important for you to kind of understand the different cycles that are launching. So be a little patient. I will try to keep this somewhat lingo free. There's a lot of good things that could come up this week. Now remember, as this week launches on Monday, we're still coming out of the sun being close to Uranus, and Sun-Uranus brings shocking things. We've already seen in the astronomy of the week, last week, these incredible solar flares that caused disruptions in the radio transmissions, and that was with the sun not facing the Earth. As I'm recording this, the sun is getting ready to face the Earth and emit a lot of this material, which interferes with electrical systems. But remember, your nervous system is an electrical system. So if you're feeling anxious or anxiety or can't sleep or just this kind of low hum, it really is your nervous system being activated. And I have to say, I taught last night with my dear friend Cheryl at a singing bowl sound bath. We did breath work and the singing bowls. And it helped so much. So if there's anything electrical that's helpful for you as far as healing modalities, whether that's acupuncture or dealing with the nervous system through breath work, singing bowls, working with tuning forks or vibration, this is a wonderful way to kind of ease this separating energy, right? The sun is moving away from Uranus, but because of that contact, it still was energized, all right? We also have Jupiter in Gemini. Jupiter is moving fast and in fact is going to enter Cancer next month, fly almost all the way through the sign of Cancer and then retrograde back. So opportunities are going to start presenting themselves in a somewhat rapid fire. Now, as it moves forward with this incredible speed, it's picking up a difficult angle to the nodes of the moon, the north node in Pisces and the south node in Virgo. Now, those nodes are moving backwards. And so this engagement range really is with us for several weeks with this Jupiter connection. Now, Jupiter tends to be the bringer of blessings, of luck, of opportunity, even in a harsh angle. But it's very important because it's in Gemini that you don't get overwhelmed with the quantity of information coming through and that you synthesize these expansion opportunities with the discernment of Virgo, but not the, well, that's not exactly what I want, so forget it. And with the beautiful inspiration of Pisces, but not the, oh yeah, I'm sure it's going to work out no matter what, okay? So we've got to find a balance between those things. And if you know where the late part of Gemini is in your chart, that is where this opportunity is coming to you. That is where Jupiter is finishing up this cycle that will not repeat for 12 years, right? So take advantage of those opportunities, even if they feel a little challenging or they might introduce some hard work or effort or not exactly match your vision. Now, another thing that Jupiter is doing is it is sending a sweet little sextile to Chiron. So if you're really working on yourself, if you've been really trying to resolve the parts of you that feel broken, the parts of you that feel like you're not accepted in the world, where you feel like you're imperfect in some way or damaged, we all feel damaged in some way. if you are working on that, this will also bring opportunities to bring that healed part of you forward into the world, to take those lessons that you've learned and realize, oh, wow, look at the skill I gained from that. Look at the knowledge I gained from that somewhat unpleasant or difficult experience, maybe even one that was, way, way back in the childhood, or that you may carry forward from your lineage. So that is something to pay attention to as well. Another lovely little flow of energy that's happening this week is that we have Venus in passionate Aries, sending gorgeous energy to Mars in Leo. I mean, this is the two lovers in fire signs. I mean, that's, depending on what you think romantic is, that sounds a little spicy and fun. It also could just bring a little bit more verve, a little bit more like, let's do this thing. Like, let's, what am I afraid of? Like, let's be pioneering. Let's be bold. Let's step into the leadership roles. So those are some lovely things that are happening this week. Now, we also want to watch, because when Uranus and the Sun are still traveling close together, Algol, that demon star, is still there. Now, I mentioned that last week, but that's still here. Don't lose your head, right? Don't be the victim of someone who is losing their head, right? If you're around somebody who's not acting rationally, or you feel like they're, kind of, just not using their brain, give them some space. Push back the meeting time, push back the family reunion or whatever. Like, beginning of the week, not the best time for that, okay? You may also see this in the broader world. There may be leadership changes, even deaths, right? I would have considered the death of the Pope to be one of those Algol moments, right? Where the church lost its head, right? So interesting astrology to start the week and to finish it. So stay with me. All right. Now then we have a beautiful sextile from the Sun in Taurus to Saturn in Pisces. This comes on the 20th. Now this is lovely. This is sticking power. This is glue. This is foundation. This is make it strong, make it real. Let's do it. There could be a financial opportunity for you here. There could be an adjustment to your resources. It could be something even just about enjoying yourself a little bit more, enjoying the physical realm a little bit more. But it could be very inspired. So I'm really loving this sextile. And I would say, remember, Saturn fires late, so you may enjoy this throughout the week. So try to find that little bit of blessing that flows from the Taurus area of your life to the Pisces area of your life. On the 20th as well, the Sun, after it sends this lovely energy over to Saturn, will step into the sign of Gemini. And flirting season begins, my friends. A little more social, a little bit more light, a little bit more mentally nimble. Gemini suns, be sure to take advantage of these last couple weeks of Jupiter in your sign. On the 22nd, we have the precise flow of energy between Venus and Mars. So again, abundance could flow through, something really positive. This is also when the Sun in Gemini will send a sextile to Neptune. Now remember, Saturn and Neptune are like neck and neck. And in fact, on the 24th, Saturn makes that leap from the end of the zodiac to the beginning, from Pisces to Aries. So anything that's going to send good energy to those two is going to receive both, right? And then anything that's in a clash with those two is going to receive the energy of both. But with this particular sextile, I'm feeling like it'll feel a little different because the Sun was in Taurus when it connected nicely with Saturn. So that's different because Saturn was in Pisces. But now the Sun moves into Gemini and connects to Neptune in Aries. So let's think about this as more like love and values with solidity and stability. And then we have essence, our versatility, our sociability, connecting with our passions, connecting with our groups. So very interesting connections around the middle of the week. Then on the 22nd through the 24th, keep in mind that the moon will also be in Aries. So whatever the Aries area of life is, it is getting a big rocket boost between Neptune and Saturn coming in. And then, Venus is still there. And then the moon is going to activate all of this. And remember, we are We're solar creatures and we're lunar creatures, right? We live by the sun and the moon. They are the most visible planets for us. And so that emotionality will be turned up. You will be feeling your feels very passionately. And again, watch for the shadow of Aries, which is immaturity, which is being in a big rush, which is getting angry about things instead of using that passion to accomplish things. And then the big day on the 24th, Saturn into Aries. Now it's late in the East Coast, 11:35 p.m. So for those of you in Europe that are watching, it's actually on the 25th. I would really look at, Saturn usually fires late, so I'm just kind of looking at the end of the week, and then this day, of course, and then through the end of the month. We're looking at the symbols, symbolic events. What does it mean when the planet of hard lessons goes from that watery, ethereal realm of Pisces to the warrior, to the youth and enthusiasm of Aries? And of course, it immediately runs into Neptune. Now, Neptune moves so slow. It's only, it's been there for about a month and it's only gone 1 degree. Saturn, however, will move a little more quickly. Now, you may have heard many astrologers say Saturn and Neptune don't both meet in Aries until February of 2026. And mathematically, that is correct. When you look to the degree and minute with that level of precision, that does not happen until February. But they're still together. They're only a degree apart. And so that function of nebulousness, of expansion, of borderless, of boundaryless, of spiritual connection, walking hand in hand with the planet of toughness, of time, of old age, of show me the numbers, make it real, don't just be talk, do. Those traveling together in this very passionate sign, I think we will see symbols that surround that. I asked last week, I think it was last week, how you all were experiencing Neptune and Aries. Actually, it might have been the week before. And I got a beautiful comment from my dear Tara. And she was talking about the emotions that she had been feeling. And I have to say, I've been feeling more agitated with that Neptune and Aries. I think the Saturn and Aries is going to up that. People will be a little less tolerant. So, but have your own experience. See what's happening in your world. It's possible that you'll use this fire energy to just become deeply committed to doing something that could be amazing. So there's always a light and a shadow. Now remember another thing that happens on the 24th. We're not just looking at this singular, right? Remember, back to the macrame braid of all the threads. We also have the Sun in Gemini trine to Pluto on this day. So this again is visionary. It's forward thinking. It's like, hey, welcome to the new Plutonian era. You're in it till 2024, 2043. 2043. Where are you going to be at that point in your life, right? You're beginning to catch the glimpse of the map of how things are going to radically change, deeply change society, world, globally, and perhaps even in the universe, because it's Aquarius. It's the future. It's expansion, technology, places that are far beyond our current understanding or consciousness, at least most people. So this lovely sextile between that versatile Gemini Sun and that forward-thinking Pluto in Aquarius, this also will be part of the thread that gets braided into the story of Saturn in Aries. Now we also have on that same day, Mercury conjunct Uranus. So again, we have the potential for major weather issues, transportation disruptions. Mercury rules transportation, issues around technology, issues with the internet, issues with solar flares, issues with the grid. This is all wrapped up in that as well. So just be aware of that. This also, in the most beautiful sense, could be the aha moment, or as my teacher used to say, the upasatori, the oh my goodness, this idea, the download that comes to you. So that also could be in the mix around the 24th, 25th. We also have a significant moon void that day, which is also kind of interesting. So if things kick up between 7:44 a.m. Eastern on the 24th and 1:38 p.m. Eastern on the 24th, don't get too disturbed, right? The moon is void. It's a little bit of a floaty time. But after that time period, definitely look at what symbolically is happening. And then we wrap the week with, on the 25th, Mercury slipping out of Taurus and heading into Gemini. So This is really a completely different energy. Mercury loves to be in Gemini, loves to chat it up, loves to give you fun facts, loves to tell you jokes, loves to make you laugh, also loves to lie right to your face. So that's something to watch out for. It's also, when it slips in there, sends a sexy sextile over to both Saturn and Neptune. So there's a lot of really good things that we can lean into this week. Now, as far as the light, there is a lot to love. I love the sun in a sextile to Saturn, a little bit of glue to all those Gemini ideas, or all those Taurus ideas about what you love, what you value, what you want. And then it sends that beautiful energy when it goes into Gemini, into Neptune. So again, versatility, creation, ideas. I'm loving Venus trine Mars because I love it when Venus gets a little love. And then the sun in Gemini trying to Pluto, like, it's good, even though it might not look good, okay? Remember, these positive outer planet things just support change, and change can be super scary. Now, as far as the shadow of the week, well, Uranus, Sun, Algol, I mean, just be a little careful over the weekend and as you enter the week. Saturn conjunct Neptune, we just did not do well with the Neptune in Aries, my friend, or the Neptune in Pisces, my friends. I really had some high hopes for the world, and they were dashed. And so I'm really I have a little trepidation about Saturn running into Neptune now in this sign that can be desperately immature. It seems like there's a lot of immaturity flourishing in the world. Don't be a part of it, okay? And then the last for the shadow is the Mercury-Uranus, because I do think that could bring some major disruptions. As I'm filming this, we have a major transit strike. We just had one in Portugal. We're having one in the US right now. Issues at the airports here in the United States. I think this could really bring some tricky things. So have your preparedness all tuned up. I'll post the preparedness video that I recorded a while ago at the end of this video. All right, so I am going to do a Celtic Cross. What should I do it on, darlings? Saturn into Aries. So stick around. I'll do some cards on Saturn into Aries. If this was helpful, please drop a comment below. Thank you for sticking with it. I know it's a little longer than normal, but trying to have you prepared for what will be a turning point time that we will look back upon for sure. All right. Thank you for your patience, and I'll see you in the tarot. Hello, darlings. Namaste. Let's take a look at the Celtic Cross reading for the movement of Saturn into Aries. Now, this is about a 3-year cycle. You know, through the retrogrades, it's going to dip back into Pisces. So we're going to go from fire to water, fire to water. What happens when you mix fire and water? You get steam. So it's definitely turning up the heat on what's happening. Now, if you're old enough to look back about 30 years ago, take a look. What was happening for you? 1996 time frame, yeah? What was going on for you, 96, 97? Then you can look at the 14-year cycle, the 21-year cycle, the 7-year cycle. So reading for the collective movement of Saturn into Aries. All right, my dears, the first one is Four of Wands. So there's a focus here on perhaps finding the right tribe. I was just talking to my daughter the other day, actually, about the idea of communal living, of people being more in community. I think that is one of the things that we will need to do in these times. Even though Aries is the sign of independence, it makes me think of from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer when Hermes says, let's be independent together. There's certain safety in community, family, as long as it's not toxic family. It's about finding the right people, right? It's not always about the right place. It's the right people. Now, crossing that, justice. Fairness is going to be coming up. What's right? What's just? What is happening as far as people not being looked after, people being taken advantage of? There's going to be a lot of themes around this. And people will want to push against being controlled. Now, in the past, the moon, we're coming from that Piscean, very watery realm. We're coming from this place where some of these things were hidden from us. Okay, Saturn in Pisces is lurking behind the scenes, but the future, Saturn in Aries, is a little more forward. Now, future card is the King of Swords. Now, remember, with this energy, you will need to be more rational, more logical. You will have to maybe be a little bit more mentally nimble and make some decisions. You'll have to be brutally honest with yourself about what's happening so you're not deluded in any way. Now, crowning thoughts, Three of Swords, there's definitely some difficult emotions around all of this. There's definitely a mixture of worried mind and worried heart. Subconsciously, you realize that there's a phase of your life that is ending. Okay, you're not going backwards, you're going forwards. And this is maybe not going exactly according to plan. It's not all unicorns and rainbows, unfortunately. It can feel a little harsh, but the reality is something has to change, and it's going to. And deeply, you know this. Advice, we have the Empress holding the glyph of Venus. You must be creative. You must be passionate. You must lean into that which you love. You must create what it is that you need. Don't sit around asking for somebody else to do it so you can just join in. Use that Aries independence to forge forward and do the things. Outside influence, Six of Swords. You also must get to safety. There may be periods during this time period that they could be weather-related events. They could be related to upheavals culturally. You need to go to a place that feels safer and better. So that this will influence this time period of your life. What you want to happen. Here's the Devil. You know, I gotta say, this is a part of the consciousness of everyone right now. They deeply want things to change. They're angry, they're upset, they're not feeling good about things. There's a lot of addictive behaviors that are happening. There's a lot of people who feel like things are tacitly unfair. That's why I think the Justice card came up over there. So what some people want to, the dream they want to dream is a very dark dream. It's a dream of fighting. It's a dream of, these purposeless people, and they exist. I used to be one of them. I was just in survival mode, right? But when people don't have a purpose, they often look for a moment of glory, and this is something we'll need to watch out culturally and collectively. People will be wanting their moment in the sun, in the spotlight. They'll be wanting to fight for something, right? Just because it makes them feel alive. So this is definitely, we need to raise the vibration of the collective so we are not attuned to this. And then the outcome. Three of Cups. So there will be beneficial changes from this time period that we're in. There will be good things. There will be silver linings. It's not something to be afraid of. Now, Reader's Fan, Judgment. Yeah, we reap what we sow. There's an awful lot of reaping that's about to happen. Nine of Pentacles. Also, don't sit around waiting for other people to do things for you. Make the money. Find the bartering system that works for you. Feel autonomous, feel empowered, feel responsible. World. Remember, you will be successful. You came here to birth the future. Midwives of the future. That's what we are. That's who we are. You got this. And finally, Four of Cups. Have some faith. I know there's a lot of, I've talked to a lot of people lately who have lost hope. They really look at this world and they've lost hope. They don't have faith. And it's interesting. I was just talking with my husband the other day about the Footprints poem. My mom had that up on her bulletin board, and it's a Christian poem. I don't know if it's really a poem. Maybe it is. But it basically says, God, when I look, or Jesus, when I look back at my life and I've been walking, there's been times where you weren't beside me and it was just only one set of footprints. And I can't believe you left me in those moments. And Jesus responds, but my child, those were times when I carried you. And that's why there's only one set of footprints. Now, not all of you attune to Jesus or to Mary, but to Krishna, to Rama, to Durga, to the divine cosmic wow, to Mother Earth, whatever it is that you attune to, it's important that you stay in communion with that so that you have faith, and that will carry you through. All right. this reading gives me some hope. I hope it does for you too. If it's helpful, please comment below. Please share it with a friend, and please hop on my website, sign up for my newsletter. I would love to send you a new moon newsletter and a collective reading every month. All right. Namaste, my friends. Ciao.